At 10:01 hours on December 20-7, Moscow's crown jewel of state propaganda was about to learn a harsh lesson in asymmetric warfare. The VDNKh Festival, a $100 million spectacle of neon lights and carefully crafted normalcy, stood illuminated against the freezing Russian winter. Within minutes, this symbol of Kremlin invincibility would be plunged into absolute darkness. What the Russian public would soon discover is that when you weaponize the winter against civilian populations, you should expect a receipt delivered with surgical precision. This was not a random power failure. This was a calculated demonstration that modern warfare no longer respects the sanctuary of fortress cities. Kiev had just proven that advanced air defense networks, costing billions, can be systematically dismantled by garage engineering and tactical brilliance. The VDNKh complex represents far more than a festival ground. It serves as the Kremlin's most visible proof that life continues normally while Russian forces grind through men and machinery 500 miles away in Ukraine. The complex features an ice skating rink twice the size of a national football league field and a New Year tree functioning as a beacon of state confidence. Every glowing light was designed to whisper the same message: everything is fine. But 20 miles to the northeast, in the snow-heavy wilderness of Losino National Park, a 6-man team from Ukraine's main intelligence directorate was preparing to shatter that illusion. Operating in absolute radio silence, these specialists were engineering a precision strike. The Dove Bush T10 represents a masterclass in asymmetric engineering. This 150-pound composite aircraft features a 12-foot wingspan and airframe constructed from advanced carbon fiber. The material choice is critical to Russian air defense systems calibrated to detect metal aircraft. The Dove Bush T10 presents a signature indistinguishable from a large migratory bird. Beneath each wing, the mothership carries 6 Wasp first-person view drones. These are the lethal payload, compact munitions designed for precision terminal guidance. The entire package costs approximately $30,000. What it was about to accomplish would cost Russia millions in direct losses and something far more valuable: the myth of Moscow's invulnerability. Moscow's air defense network is formidable. The city is ringed by Pantsir S1 systems, billion-dollar installations representing the pinnacle of Russian integrated air defense. Each unit can simultaneously track 300 targets and engage them with MOT for missiles. The system's twin to A30-A10 30mm autocannons can dump 500 rounds per minute of high-explosive incendiary ammunition into the sky. To any conventional military, penetrating this defensive envelope would require stealth aircraft costing hundreds of millions of dollars. The Ukrainian main intelligence directorate, however, had studied the mathematics and found a solution to exploit the system's fundamental weakness through limited magazine capacity and operator psychology. By 20-200 hours, the catapult was armed. No radio chatter, no external lights. Just the soft mechanical click of the launch rail locking into firing position. The mission parameters were audacious: hug the Yauza River at 200 feet altitude, exploit ground plateau where radar signals fragment among urban structures, and hope Pantsir operators celebrating the approaching new year were not at peak alertness. As the first Dove Bush T10 crossed the 20-mile perimeter, the electronic warfare environment erupted. Russian Pantsir S1 crews detected signatures on their screens. But what they saw was chaos incarnate. Ukrainian operators had released dozens of decoy drones, simple cardboard gliders equipped with corner reflectors designed to mimic cruise missile radar returns. To the Pantsir's phased radar, the night sky suddenly resembled a massive coordinated assault. The Pantsir S1 carries only 12 ready missiles. Faced with what appeared to be a swarm attack, Russian operators began firing their 5.76 missiles at everything showing a radar return. At approximately $1 million per interceptor, Russia was effectively incinerating currency to destroy cardboard and aluminum foil. The tactical comparison is embarrassing, using a Ferrari to run over plastic bags. While Pantsir batteries engaged $50- decoys, the first Dove Bush T10 executed textbook terrain masking. The drone dropped to 150 feet, literally contours along the frozen Yauza River. By remaining below the radar horizon and blending into ground clutter, the mothership became electronically invisible. As the Dove Bush T-10 reached the 10-mile release point, Moscow's defensive posture shifted to active engagement. The drone released its 6 Wasps into a sky that immediately erupted with tracer fire. A Pantsir S1 unit stationed on a nearby industrial rooftop engaged its twin 30mm autocannons. 500 rounds per minute of high-explosive incendiary shells began tearing through the night sky. The first Wasp drone disintegrated into fragments. 1 down, 5 remaining. The surviving drones immediately to force street level, weaving between apartment complexes to break radar lock. Russian security teams on factory rooftops began pouring sustained AK-70- for rifle fire into the sky. Wasp numbered it took a 5.45mm round through its rear propulsion motor, entering an unrecoverable spin and impacting a billboard. 2 down for remaining. Wasp number 3 encountered electronic warfare, creating ghost images in its thermal sensors. Despite advanced artificial intelligence target recognition, massive Russian jamming created false returns. The drone locked onto an industrial chimney, mistaking it for the transformer station. It slammed into brickwork at full velocity. 3 down, 3 remaining. The mission was teetering on catastrophic failure, but Ukrainian operators understand calculated sacrifice. They used smoke from the first 3 impacts as concealment. Wasps number 4 and 5 executed a high-G diversionary maneuver, dragging Pantsir targeting systems off -axis for precisely 2 seconds. That -second window was all Wasp number 6 needed. The drone screamed over the substation perimeter fence at 130 miles per hour, locked its artificial intelligence targeting onto the main 20-kilowatt bus bar, and impacted with surgical precision. The shaped charge detonated. A jet of molten copper punched through the transformer's core. A brilliant sapphire blue electrical arc illuminated the Moscow sky, a power flash signaling the beginning of the end. The substation was massive. One successful strike would not kill the festival. Russian operators were practically celebrating. On their tactical displays, the threat appeared neutralized. They had intercepted 6 drones, and the brownout seemed like a minor technical issue their engineers could resolve within an hour. The Kremlin propaganda machine was likely already drafting press releases. They were catastrophically wrong. 10 minutes behind the first wave, the second Dove Bush T-10 arrived. This was the double -stap doctrine, a calculated trap designed to exploit the reload gap. The Pantsir S1, once it fires its 12 missiles, is combat ineffective for at least 5 minutes while specialized loader vehicles manually crane new tubes onto launch rails. Those twin 30mm autocannons were glowing cherry red after dumping thousands of rounds. Continued firing would warp the rifling, transforming a $1 billion precision weapon into an expensive garden hose. As Russian crews climbed from their vehicles to vent overheated barrels, the second Dove Bush T-10 crested the horizon from the northwest. Mothership to released its 6 Wasps at 8 miles range. Russian defense coordination went from victory celebration to total panic in 15 seconds. But Moscow had a nasty surprise. An elite guards unit had scrambled a mobile K/A-SUK- for electronic warfare vehicle to a bridge overlooking the Yauza River. They flooded the 2.4 and 5.8 GHz frequency bands with 500 watts of white noise. Wasp number 7 hit that electronic wall and went blind instantly. Its video feed dissolved into static, drifting into a residential high-rise and exploding harmlessly. Simultaneously, Wasp number 8 was targeted by a Russian soldier wielding an EDM-4S Sky Wiper handheld jamming gun. The Jammer 1. The drone's flight controller suffered a critical glitch and nose dived into the frozen river. Russian commanders believed they had regained control. They forgot one critical factor: Ukrainian engineers are masters of the firmware update. The remaining 4 Wasps triggered their dead man's artificial intelligence protocol. This specialized algorithm activates when all external signals are completely severed. The drones stopped attempting to communicate with operators. Instead, their onboard Skynode's processors began running visual odometry loops, comparing high-contrast city lights against a preloaded 3-dimensional digital twin of Moscow. The drones were essentially reading the map like human navigators. You can jam the electromagnetic spectrum, but you cannot jam the fundamental geometry of a city. Russian defenders realized the drones were not stopping. In desperation, they activated a hidden ORM- system held in reserve near the Kremlin. The Tor is faster and more accurate than the Pantsir. The system launched 9 M30-1 missiles. Wasp No. 9 executed a desperate 9-G evasive maneuver, but the Tor's proximity fuse was too sophisticated. It detonated 20 feet away, shredding the drone with tungsten fragments. The odds were now 50-50. 3 drones remaining. 1 substation. Wasp No. 10 acted as the sacrificial lamb. It intentionally climbed to 500 feet altitude, making itself a massive glowing target. The Russian operator took the bait and fired his last ready missile. Wasp 10 was vaporized, but it bought the final 2 drones exactly 11 seconds of silent flight time. Wasps 11 and 12 were now less than 500 yards from the target. Both drones locked thermal sensors onto the primary transformer's cooling manifold, a target no larger than a pizza box. Russian security teams opened fire with everything available: AK-70- for rifles, PKM machine guns, even a flare gun. It was a wall of lead. Wasp No. 11 took a bullet directly through its battery pack and burst into flames. But momentum carried it forward. It slammed into the backup generator's fuel tank. A massive orange fireball erupted, creating a smoke screen that masked the approach of the final drone. Wasp No. 12 emerged from the smoke like a ghost. It had 4% battery remaining. Its front left motor was vibrating dangerously from a near-miss miss, but the artificial intelligence did not care about damage. It identified the 20-kilowatt main transformer, located the sweet spot where oil lines entered the pressurized casing, and initiated a terminal dive at 140 miles per hour. Impact! The 2-bound shaped charge detonated at -4 degrees Fahrenheit. The physics were brutal. The jet of molten copper caused a bolted fault, a catastrophic electrical bridge between high-voltage internal windings and the grounded steel tank. Inside the substation, the sound resembled a thunderclap that would not end. 70 tons of mineral oil superheated to 3,000 degrees in microseconds, expanding with the force of a small bomb. Pressure relief valves vaporized instantly. A massive sapphire blue arc of electricity, 100 feet long, shot into the Moscow sky, turning night into artificial day for 5 terrifying seconds. Back at the VDNKh Festival, the sapphire flash from the substation reflected off the ice rink. Then came the sounds of regional circuit breakers, exploding as the power surge dripped backwards through the network. The millions of fairy lights did not simply dim. They surged with blinding final brilliance as their filaments overloaded and melted. The 100-foot New Year tree flickered like a dying star before plunging into absolute darkness. The music died mid-note. Giant LED screens displaying images of Russian military glory went black. In the -4-degree cold, the silence was heavier than falling snow. Ukraine had not simply hit a transformer. They had systematically dismantled the Kremlin's Fortress Moscow myth with $60,000 worth of garage genius technology. While Russia's Ministry of Defense characterized the incident as a minor technical glitch, satellite imagery told a different story: a massive thermal spike at the heart of Moscow's power infrastructure. The mission cost Ukraine approximately $60,000. In exchange, they neutralized a multi-million-dollar transformer substation requiring months to fully repair due to Western sanctions on specialized high-voltage components. Russia expended at least 15 Pantsir and Tor missiles during the engagement, at approximately $1 million per interceptor. Moscow spent $15 million to shoot at cardboard decoys and garage technology, and they still lost the target. The cost-minus-exchange ratio is staggering. Ukraine achieved a 250-to-1 return on investment. More importantly, they proved that expensive integrated air defense networks can be systematically defeated through tactical deception and technological innovation. In Russian culture, New Year is not merely a holiday. It is the most important cultural event of the calendar year, a time of state-mandated optimism. By casting VDNKh into total darkness, Ukraine did not simply hit infrastructure. They hit the reset button on the Russian public's sense of security. The myth of Fortress Moscow is dead. The cold darkness has replaced the everything is fine propaganda. It is the ultimate symmetrical receipt, a stark reminder that you cannot weaponize winter against millions of Ukrainian families and expect your own festive lights to remain illuminated. Today, the world witnessed the Dove Bush Wasp doctrine in full operational deployment. This is the evolution of David versus Goliath, where artificial intelligence-guided garage technology and clever mothership tactics can systematically dismantle billion-dollar defense grids. It proves that in modern warfare, Victory does not belong to whoever possesses the biggest missile. Victory belongs to whoever deploys the smartest algorithm and the most creative engineers. Ukraine demonstrated they are not merely fighting for territorial integrity. They are fighting for the right to return every blow with compound interest. The fortress city is an obsolete concept. The sanctuary of distance no longer exists. What Ukraine proved on December 20-7 is that tactical creativity trumps raw firepower every single time. The hunters have become the hunted. The era of untouchable capitals has ended.